Everyone's buzzing right now about artificial intelligence and natural language processing, and in particular about the latest version of OpenAI's GPT. Now, I've been playing around with GPT-3 for more than a year. As an experiment, I even published half a dozen short books on technology topics using text generated by GPT-3. But the recent release of GPT-3.5, and specifically the very new ChatGPT tool, is a significant improvement. People are doing all kinds of crazy stuff with ChatGPT, including drawing up real estate contracts and wills, writing poetry, and coding. For full disclosure, I did manage to convince the tool to write me a will, and while I'll certainly heed its warning to consult a real lawyer before using the results, I must say they weren't bad. But I've decided to see what ChatGPT can do with bash scripting. For practical reasons, I didn't record the conversation GPT and I had as it happened, but I'm going to run through the transcript of that conversation for you, because it's really interesting. Just to throw out a spoiler right off the top, I'll tell you that the AI ultimately failed to solve my problem, but the way it failed is absolutely fascinating, and watching the AI searching for new answers, and I can only call it thinking, was absolutely crazy. If nothing else, the AI is a perfect tool for giving you a pair programming experience. So let's go. Here's the initial prompt I provided to the AI. I asked it to write me a bash script that prompts for the URL of a YouTube video and then uses the yt-dlp program, which should already be installed, of course, to download from that URL. The script should then change the file name to something a bit simpler than the long and complex file names YouTube usually provides. After a few seconds, the AI told me that a script was coming. It obviously knows what bash scripts are and how to present code. It even did a great job commenting each line of code. The AI knows how to properly prompt the user for input and then how to import the input string into a variable called URL. It also knows about the yt-dlp program and how it works, appropriately feeding it the URL that was provided. Then it at least attempted to rename the downloaded video file to myvideo.mp4. But everything kind of broke down when it assumed that the downloaded file name would be video-filename.mp4. Whoops. At any rate, the AI helpfully shows me how to create the script from its code and then run it. My first follow-up prompt pointed out the obvious mistake, and after a few seconds, ChatGPT admitted it was wrong and offered an improvement. It's just mind-blowing how the AI is completely engaged in the process here. It remembers its first code, listens to and understands my complaint, and thinks through a solution. Okay, so I can see how the solution kind of looked right. Basename is a Linux tool that can strip out file system directories and leave nothing but the actual file name. The problem is that the variable URL doesn't contain a local file name but an internet address. This one definitely isn't going to work. So I tried again, explaining how that wasn't the right tool for the job, and ChatGPT gives it another try. This time, it shows that it had familiarized itself with the yt-dlp documentation, suggesting that we use the -o argument to give the downloading video a name, against which basename should now work. With each iteration, the AI gives me the updated code for my cutting and pasting pleasure. Of course, that wasn't going to work either. With the next attempt, I get the feeling that the AI is a bit desperate. I'm going to skip past the next attempt or two as we run into a side problem. Videos coming from YouTube aren't always MP4s. They're sometimes MKVs or even WebMs. That uncertainty could mess with the file names we're working with, so I asked ChatGPT to work that into the code. As you can see here, the AI was starting to get confused. First, it tells me that the -F option was expecting a valid video format, but that MP4 wasn't valid. Then it gives me valid options, including MP4. When nothing the AI suggested worked, it gave up, advising me to make sure that yt-dlp was actually installed on my machine and showing me how to do that. I figured that was a good time to give up. It was a surprisingly good effort, and even if it didn't solve the problem, it did show me some useful syntax and got me thinking. In case you're interested, by the way, here's how an actual working script would look. The first 2 lines of code are just the way ChatGPT suggested. But here's how I would isolate the file name. I list all the files in the current directory and use awk to filter for only file names containing either MP4, WebM, or MKV. This assumes that there will never be more than 1 video file in the directory at a time. The file name will then be written to the original_filename variable. I'll then use that variable as part of a move command to rename the file myvideo.mp4. As far as I can tell, that'll work no matter what format was actually sent. By the way, besides this YouTube channel, to which you can subscribe right now, I've also got full courses, books, articles, and lots of other great stuff you can access through these links. Please do so.